So the National Parent-Teacher Association of Nigeria, that's NAPTAN's PR officer, had said that they were proposing, the parents and teacher were proposing to pay 10,000 naira per session, per parent per session, to assist the government in making more funds available to universities. So this is somewhat attempt to meet government halfway. So government is supposed to do their bit. Parents Teachers Association are saying, okay, we also pay 10,000 naira per parent per session to support you. And many are taking this with mixed feelings that, is it the right thing to do? Is this still patriotism? Or do you think this is just part of frustration of the fact that government and ASUU are unable to have an agreement? What are your thoughts on this? Is it a good gesture by the Parents Teachers Association? You can call us on 08127053687, 09139076948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your TVC so we can read your tweet.
So me, I went to a Nigerian university, and I know that in intervening in ASUU and government issue, acceptance fees were created within universities. Once your admission comes out, you have to pay to this university what is called an acceptance fee. And I wondered when I was paying my own. I don't already accept admission. Why am I paying a fee?
To accept.
When my school fees is separate, I think it was 10 to 20,000 compulsorily paid by every JAMBite. And now you're saying per session, aside acceptance fee now, parents, this is parents who are suggesting it. Yeah. And I don't know whether they're speaking for all the parents, where they ever had a meeting where all parents were seated. That, you know, additionally, per session now, added to the other cost of fees, they will now be paying a 10,000 assistance fee to government so that ASUU never goes on strike. I see the benefit of it. One of the benefits is that government can put these funds together in a fund collection and, you know, target it towards ASUU. So we have how many interventions now? Acceptance fee. We have the fund, third fund, which was also an intervention after ASUU strike. And now we have the NAPTAN 10,000 fee. And I'm thinking, is the issue not administrative? Is the issue about the unwillingness to fund? I remember that at some point, school fees was 14,000 in my 100 level. It was made 25 or 24,000 in my 200 level till I graduated. There's fees for law. So there's no real free education. At some point, they call it subsidized fees. We were paying. But administratively, they will not be able to utilize these funds within universities. UNILAG pulled out of ASUU at some point. They refused to go on strike. They survived. Students paid fees and they met all their needs. And UNILAG did not join any of ASUU strike for over 5 years till I graduated. Kwara Unilorin pulled out of ASUU at some point. They survived. So the issue for me, I welcome the money. Money is good. Nobody rejects money. God forbid.
Nima, let me just ask a question that came to my head.
Is it about additional money or administrative issue?
Let me ask you a question that just came to me while you're talking. Do you think about paying the true value for education in Nigeria?
At all. See,
no. So
I said subsidized.
I hear it. Even if we're subsidizing,
wow.
do we think Nigerians are paying enough for education?
At all.
Okay, we're not. So if we're not paying education, how therefore do we expect we also have the high standard of education in our country?
Morayo,
yes,
in the past, the reason we're not paying the full value of education is because we boasted that we are an African giant and we had oil.
Yes.
Where do depend on? At that time, all other means of production was working.
Eventually suspended.
Eventually suspended, and we got ourselves here where we can no longer subsidize. At that time, everybody was happy going to school, and even then, some parents found it difficult to raise the subsidized amount. We cannot turn our eye. I'm not asking our parents to continue to get it free. I remember how my father paid for 4 children at once in the university. I know how a committed parent will see this. But what I'm saying is it about money or management and administration of the existing funds? Can we go and check how the funds so far has been spent? What exactly is happening? Are the VCs of the schools utilizing the funds? If it is not them, is it from the federal government that we are not getting? Is it the Minister for Education we should be probing? Because if we continue to increase the funds, students will continue to increase, problem will continue to increase. Okay, but if we address problems, the funds are there, and if we need to add funds to them, we will know what we are doing. If it is student loan we want to create, let's create student loan. Let's find a way. BOI is now intervening in business, and yet we still have businesses closing.
Because when I look at private schools, like, is it Coventry or is it Covenant? Covenant. You know, and I'm thinking how much they're paying for education, how their professors are being paid, the kind of salaries they get, the kind of researches that they are working on. The fact that is it Covenant? The Coventry is now one of the top 1,000 schools. It made the list. Yes. So I'm thinking, whether we like it or not, I mean, it's always easy to point fingers, government. But we too. But then we'll come back to, let's go back to this issue of 10,000 naira.
I personally believe we're not paying enough for university education, and that has watered down the university education that we have in this country. I know that we're very brilliant people. Anywhere we find ourselves, we'll do amazing. Does not mean we're getting the quality that we can get, because we have watered it down. We're trying as much as possible to accommodate everybody. In fact, people will tell you, it's not just to get the certificates. Nobody is paying attention to the practicality of that certificate. And that's why they still leave the university system and are not able to write employment letter to submit. They're not able to write anything, most of them that we have, because everything has just been, it's about the paper qualification. I think we need to rejig the educational system in Nigeria and focus on specialization. There are skill schools that can be reopened, or like this. What's this? Colleges of education that handle vocational schools that handle several. So you find where you're from secondary school. You already know you've been counseled. You know where you're supposed to go. You know the sort of skills that you have, so that the professional courses can now be focused solely on in the universities, and people will pay premium to get good quality. That's a long haul, though. But in the interim now that this our parents association are saying that they're going to contribute 10,000 naira monthly. This is a parent saying that instead of my children to sit at home, I will squeeze myself. This is what we expect from the government. And parents are taking a lead to say, because they are at the receiving end of this whole thing, that no matter what, we will still squeeze. Maybe if people are complaining that you need money to revitalize. If we squeeze, let us see what we can begin to do. And I don't want them to just pay the money and go to sleep. There must be transparency. We must see what these funds are used for. The labs that are meant to be built, the theaters are meant to be built in the schools, the machineries, the equipment, infrastructure development, the salary increment, we must follow through. So don't just drop money and feel ASUU can sort it. It's obvious that ASUU can no longer sort it. All stakeholders must be involved. And this should be an ongoing conversation on what needs to be done and how we can do it. I applaud them. If I'm the one, I will even say I can even increase it to 20,000 naira because I don't want my children to sit at home.
Okay, so but what you talked about earlier concerning because I know that because I do some work for the government of Lagos State. I know that there's something called comprehensive school. They piloted, I think, is 12 schools, and the government just applied and approved for 50 additional schools. So what they did is called comprehensive schools. What they did is that every child that comes into GSS1, when you get to GSS3, as you onward to SS1, you get to choose. Now, for those that are highly academic in nature, they are encouraged to stay on that line so you can do the medicine and everything. For those of you who are struggling, they'll now introduce you to other vocational. So you still, at the end of the day, both of you still do your WAEC at the end of the day.
Yes.
But you do corresponding exams. So you are now doing more of these vocational skills where if it
tailored to your talent.
Tailored to your talent. And they have different in IT, digital marketing, everything.
You
still learn the basics, but you're not going to be it's not going to be highly academic. So at the end of the day, we're still having graduates who are useful to the society.
To the society.
They piloted 12 schools and they're doing 50. So the point is that some work is going on in certain places. But essentially, it's going to be done over time. It's not something that you do at the snap of the finger.
So thank you for bringing that. I wanted to respond to BC that it's not new that government responds to skill development and growth.
Across the country,
Across the country, if you look well, we had FUTA and FUTMINA. They were created in response to things like this, the way the world was growing at the time, technology, and then the lack. I remember that they opened a petroleum institute for the need to get local petroleum workers focusing on expatriate.
At the time.
So they respond like that to certain needs within our environment. But the issue is mismanagement of universities' funds. Over time, you see lecturers wait over a period of time and say they were not paid. There's a Ministry of Education in that school, in that state. There's a Ministry of Education nationally. and they withhold lecturers' funds. Lecturers had to strike. University funds were not coming in. We had intervention funds that were directed to cater for such needs. So now the world is looking at artificial intelligence. They are moving towards tech and other tech things. How many private universities in Nigeria could create COVID vaccine? But we are going there just so that we graduate within the required number of time. There's no special education. So people used to pick universities. I'm saying it. At least they're not vaccine.
There's not happening
based on specialties in this country. People used to focus. I remember somebody living in Lagos, and I kept saying, why all the way to Mina? I said, the course I want to study is in Foot Mina. It's not in any other university. People used to pick special education, special fields. Yes. And because of that, LASU created Faculty of Transportation or Department of Transportation then, I think, under the... and it was the first in the whole country. And so we had students driving, moving there. The first set of students were taken from their pre-degree foundation, they call it foundation. Then I left university at the time, but I saw them. So I'm saying that they are searching such needs. The difference in private universities and federal or state universities is management of funds. So I am a private business owner. I know where I will take money from, and I know how I will pay what. That's all. So that's what we are discussing here. The government needs to do more. And ASUU will keep quiet for life. That's all.
Let's take a few comments on social media because we wrap up.
Plenty.
I know that lots of, topics. I think it was Ijoma Elenitoba was saying earlier. Let me just go back to her comment. She was saying that many parents, her own children are still home. Let me find her message here. You have any comments on social media?
Young Abdul says, I don't think the support levy will work. I think we need to overhaul our education system. Public primary and secondary schools that are free are not up to standard. Parents can contribute to make sure they are up to standard. Festus Akimboewa says, uni is about money because it can't be run on cheap. Parents propose 10,000 naira support levy for universities per session is peanuts. Parents should put their money where their mouth is. UK is now talking about increasing tuition to £24,000 per year.
Jesus.
Irene says the government has failed Nigerians. They didn't provide the basic need for the people. The government officials travel for their businesses or health issues. I think they should bring something back or introduce something new to the Nigerian system whenever they travel. And it's true, you should bring some knowledge back.
Okay. Let me take Dr. Arewa. I'll come to you, BC. Dr. Arewa, are you there?
Yes, I'm on
the line. Go ahead, please.
Well, I want to appreciate you for the dimension you are giving to the discussion. But to be on the safer side, I don't think it's the right thing for the parent association to do. All along, if you look at the argument, it has always been ASUU advocating for parents. There was a time the university is arguing that the fund should not be paid by individuals. They wanted increasing the fee to almost ₦1 million some time ago. And I remember ASUU has been arguing that no, a common man should be able to afford this. So now, the pressure on ASUU is to declare that parents should start paying tuition fees. If parents start paying tuition fees, the accusation goes back to ASUU that they are the ones who increase the fees. Government can afford education. The problem is priority. People don't, the government is not ready to place their priorities right. Once the priorities are right, other excesses will be thought of, and we'll have a quality education. There's no point intervening, saying it will not be sustained. It's not the fund we're talking about here. It's the administration and the management of the fund that has been released earlier. So I don't think it's the right thing for the parents to say they want to step in. The government should be very careful in handling this kind of matter.
Thank you, Dr. Ario. So that's a different angle. Some might argue that even the budgetary allocation
is not enough.
Education is insufficient to actually meet the needs.
It's the smallest
and that's why we keep... So there are different layers, and government will tell you, oh, we don't have money. And you say, why are you prioritizing? Is it the renovation of... revitalization of the National Assembly? Or is it the educational system? So there are various angles to this, but let's take a few more comments on social media.
So Oladidi says, we must realize that subsidized education is no longer sustainable. Full tuition fees are now required. Sam Olu says, if Lagos State is doing what Morayo is saying, that is commendable. Niger says, BC is correct for demanding transparency with all funds ASUU receives. This point cannot be overstated. BC Osinaya says, let ASUU leave government and start talking to parents instead.
Okay, Rolake says, very true, but is that patriotism? Some stayed behind, but we decided to reward the prodigal sons, that's those that left. If we decide to appeal to those who have left to come back, why are we stopping people from relocating, since those who gather foreign experience are highly recommended? So he's against the minister. That Slim Gas says, patriotism, we can only give back what we have now, but okay, I can't continue with this message.
So BC Osinaya says, the government should, however, know that if universities are sound, we can attract foreign students and make money from them. So we need to, do better.
Oluwambelaye says, if our country becomes our greener pasture, then we won't preach patriotism. I have vowed to give my kids better life like I never had as a kid. So if I see the opportunity to travel out, I will without thinking twice. What has this country done for me to warrant patriotism?
So I get that. That's for you, yourself, and your children. Then what of the person that can't afford that? So I guess that person is doomed for life. So the point is that when we think, yes, that person last time be patriotic. So if we're thinking nationhood, and that's what you're saying, that if you choose to become a leader, there's sacrifices. If we're going to be Nigerians, let us have sacrifices. I have always shared this story that when I was in school with 3 Indians, 2 of them guys, 1 girl. They were helping me in chemistry. One was helping me, I know Prima, I can't remember their names. These 3 kids were working as I was, and as we were graduating like this, said tomorrow they're going back to India. And I was shocked. They had no business. They're not thinking of employment there at all. Their one was that they're going back to India. So the thing is that there are different layers, but you see, you can't force that from Nigerians. The Nigerians must, the government must earn it. You must earn that patriotism from your people. Yeah. How do you do that? Accountability. Yes. When you show leadership, we become patriotic like this. So as the VP now, for example, use our medical services. He's earning people's trust by doing that. Vice President use our hospital.
That's supposed to be normal.
It's supposed to be normal. Yeah. So as you do more of that, Nigerians feel like, okay, let us believe in this land. Those abroad too want to come back because they feel like, okay, we are all believing in this land. But if all of you are carrying your smart, then before you know it, the president has gone to the UK for medical. Nobody wants to be patriotic.
There's a tweet I would like to take to Immaculate Boy says, relocation should not be tied to patriotism. People relocate for many reasons, and staying in your country doesn't also mean that you're patriotic. It says a reverend father in his secondary school was a secondary school rector, and he came to Nigeria in 1974. He's still here till date. He's not a Nigerian. Is it? He now asked the question: is that person unpatriotic to his country?
Not at all.
So some people are here and constantly cursing.
Yeah.
Here. So they're not remaining here because they're patriotic. They are just.
I know also many people over there who are crossing Nigeria. I mean, when they said a few words, because somebody had an event and some goods are not coming from Nigeria, and the person was cursing the land that country can never be. And I'm thinking, I'm going back there. This crosses that I am going back. I am not here. So me, I live there. And this is what I do. You're cursing it as if it's something. So because you've gone, you've escaped.
So
the rest of us is doomed. So we are
the leader amongst us, the greatest amongst us, should be able to serve. And that was why Jesus signified it or symbolized it by washing the feet of the disciples. And he said it's not about being, I want to be great, I want to be great, I want to be great. Are you willing to serve? We need leaders who are willing to serve the nation. We need to start looking at them while we are, picking up our PVCs to vote out there tomorrow. People who put the interests of the country first before where they are, who they are, and where they are from. That is what we need. Once we can sort that out, Morayo, you will see that Nigerians are naturally patriotic. We'll be fine.